Right, so for the sake of everyone, I'm going to be doing this in English. Hello, everyone. I'm Elizabeth, for those of you who do not know me. I'm very excited about this tour which Seagull is doing to the Amazon. We haven't done it for a while. We have done it before, but we haven't done this for a while post-COVID, so we're excited to be offering it to our clients again. So yeah, let's start, and I'm going to take you through the tour, and we'll see whether you have any questions at the end. So give me a second and I will start sharing my screen with you. Okay, so for those of you who do not know, this tour is divided into two parts. Sorry, I just want to make sure that there is not someone in the waiting room. Okay, all right. So for those of you who do not know, this tour is divided in two parts. We have the first part, which is the Amazon in Peru, and then there is the extension to Peru and Bolivia. So let's start with the Amazon first. We're going to be spending 2 days in Lima. And then from Lima, we are going to be traveling north up to Iquitos, where there will be 5 days, which will be spent in the Amazon. And then if you wanted to do the extension, you'll go back to Lima with the group. After Lima, you'll fly to Cusco, and then we'll do the Sacred Valley, La Paz, which is in Bolivia, and the southern, well, a little bit further south to Uyuni. So that is just a quick overview of the route that these two different tours will be taking. Right, so again, let's start with the Amazon. We're going to be starting in Lima, which is obviously the capital of Peru. Now, Lima is not just cathedrals and town squares, it's also a very vibrant and artistic city, but obviously the European influence is quite visible in the architecture. But there's also street art, a very tangible vibe, and one of the most famous artistic boroughs is called Barranco. And it's such an ideal part of the city to just amble around, have a famous Peruvian coffee or a gelato, or maybe even a pisco sour. It's a lovely spot for some shopping, alpaca wool products, for pottery, for painting, handicrafts, and then, of course, the famous Peruvian chocolate or coffee. So we spend 2 days in Lima, and then we head north to Iquitos, where we are going to go into the Amazon. Now, what's really important when you're choosing an Amazon tour is to make sure that you are actually going into the deep Amazon. So one thing that I thought I would want to just discuss with you is the difference between the Amazon in Brazil and the Amazon in Peru. Obviously, it's still the same Amazon, but there are different experiences in the two countries. The Amazon rainforest is obviously vast, and it spans over Brazil and Peru as the two main countries. And then, so what is important to know is, while the Brazilian Amazon is probably most well known because it's so big, Manaus is very well known. The Peruvian Amazon is less developed, but it offers an equally rich and immersive jungle experience, and it has some advantages, such as it gives us easier access to the Peruvian Amazon. The Peruvian Amazon gives us easier access to the wild, to the untamed areas. We can quickly reach into the deep part of the Amazon, and it also has a very diverse wildlife. It's a hotspot for flora and fauna. There might be an opportunity to see a pink river dolphin, giant otters, sloths, macaws, and if we're very lucky, the elusive jaguar. And because there are fewer large-scale developments like we see in Brazil, we sometimes see that the animals more frequently because they're not as skittish. So when we're in the Amazon, our experience is going to be lodge-based, We spent 5 nights in a 3-star lodge, which is very highly rated. Now, the reason Seagull is using a 3-star lodge on this specific tour is because the accommodation that's available, because of the tourist infrastructure that's not so well developed, is very limited. So that's just a little bit of background information. So let's see what you're going to be doing for the 5 days in the Amazon. Okay, so the activities are going to include boat rides, both day and night boat rides. So you'll get the opportunity to experience nocturnal birds, such as the famous ghost bird, or Portu. And in the morning, you can watch the macaws actually eating mud. And they do this because they want to get more salt or sodium in their diet. You can do some piranha fishing. I know Philip is excited about that. And then there are some nature hikes. So watch out for those famous anacondas and tarantulas and the beautiful sloth. And of course, in Peru, there's also the opportunity to see some of the local villages and just how the locals live. So that's the first part of our offering, which is the Amazon with Lima. And then after that, for those who do wish to extend, you can extend to the rest of another part of Peru and Bolivia. And this is where you are going to see Machu Picchu and, of course, those Inca wonders. So to start off, this tour starts in Cusco, and we're going to do Cusco in the Sacred Valley. And why we do this first is to give you time to acclimatize. Cusco is obviously the capital of Bolivia. And then after we've seen Cusco, we go to the Sacred Valley, and there at Ollantaytambo, you get to experience the authentic Peruvian life in one of the last remaining Inca towns, with that very incredible fortress ruins. And then when you go up to Machu Picchu, it's important that you know that the first bit is done by train. So the first bit of traveling up to Machu Picchu is done by train. Then you're going to be traveling with a bus. And when you reach the base or the gate of Machu Picchu, those who are able to or who want to climb further up can do so. And if you're not able to do so, you can wait at the gate and still drink in this very famous Inca, the Inca engineering, which is obviously an absolute masterpiece. And it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Okay, so after Machu Picchu, we're going to be heading into Bolivia. And then, sorry, give me 1 second. Okay, sorry, I needed a sip of water. So from Bolivia, when we're in Bolivia, we're going to be visiting La Paz. And then from La Paz, we're going to venture to the Salt Lakes, which is a moonlight terrain with vibrant flamingos, and it's a really different kind of landscape. And of course, the very famous Lake Titicaca with those grass islands, which the grass islands were built by the Uri people. And it's actually a tradition that's come a very long way. And it's said that the Uri people built these Uro Islands from a buoyant kind of reed because they were trying to get away from the Incas. So yeah, that's just a very quick overview of the tour. I think I made a slip of the tongue when I referred to Cusco as the capital. So I apologize if I did that. I'm correcting myself there. And then just a little bit of practical information. When we travel to Peru, South African passport holders do not need visas, but we do need a visa for Bolivia. And we also need a yellow fever certificate. So that's something important to keep in mind. Now also remember, if you cannot get a yellow fever certificate, that is fine. Your doctor can write a note to say that you cannot get a yellow fever certificate, and you can just take that with you. If we look at the currencies and the time zones, that's always important for us South Africans. So in Peru, they use the sol, which is about 5 Rand. The Boliviano is used in Bolivia. As you can see, it's 2.65. And the most important questions, what's a beer going to cost or a coffee? So you can see the information on the screen, anything from 25 to 45 Rand, depending on whether it's an imported or a local beer. While Peru is 7 hours behind South Africa, Bolivia is 6 hours behind. And one of the most important questions people normally ask is, how fit do I need to be? So you need to be walking fit. I would say that you need to be able to comfortably walk 5 kilometers at a time, unaided, and without feeling like you want to keel over. But you really do not need to be a gym bunny either. So as long as you are walking fit and able to kind of sustain a reasonable pace for 5 kilometers, you'd be absolutely fine. So that's a very quick overview of the two tours. If you have not received the information yet, then please do let us know and we'll send the information to you. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen, put on my camera, and then if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask me. Sorry, it's taking a while. Right. So, anyone with any questions?
It's Philip Gibson here. Maybe to continue with the practical questions. Obviously, the week in the Amazon, we'll be spending Bundu bashing a bit. I've seen some videos. I've been looking at some YouTube snippets on what to expect. And it seems to be quite a wet affair, with people wearing gumboots and stuff like that. Could you confirm that, or maybe have advice on what kind of footwear to use?
Okay, Philip, so I don't think gumboots are the most comfortable boots to walk in. So I would definitely take walking shoes, yes. Walking boots are probably even better because they support your ankle. And I'll make sure that they are water resistant or waterproof. Very much similar to when you go, for instance, to the gorillas, I would say. So I would rather use those than to walk around in gumboots.
Right, no, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Any mosquitoes? I trust there will be mosquitoes.
Yeah, I think that's a very reasonable assumption, Philip. Yeah, no, so definitely you'll need to take mosquito repellent, yeah, or insect repellent. And obviously at the lodges, they'll also supply those. Or at the lodge, they'll supply those.
As far as I could ascertain, it's not a malaria issue. It's just simply a mosquito
issue. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else?
Any idea on the temperatures we can expect?
It's obviously going to be humid because of where it's located, and it will be hot. So I would always suggest that you have to wear layers, clothing that can wick moisture. So yeah, moisture wicking clothing, whether that's linen or something that you get at a camping store. I think that's the best thing to do, but it will be hot and humid.
I checked, there's not a lot of free time, which is great. I think I could only see in La Paz we've got probably an afternoon and maybe a morning somewhere. For their own devices. Anything that you would suggest there, or is it just typically a shopping opportunity?
I think it really depends on who you are. So some clients would want to go and do some shopping. Others would want to walk around and maybe take some photographs. Yeah, so it really depends on how and if you're really into the history, you might want to go and explore some of the smaller historic spaces or monuments. So that's really a very personal choice.
Okay. Yeah, okay, no more questions from our side.
Okay, perfect. Anyone else? No? Okay. Well, then I'm going to...
Sorry, Elizabeth. I have a question about language. Hello.
Ek het jou nie gesien nie. Hallo Naomi.
Nee, ek is hier so.
Okay.
In my hoekie.
In jou hoekie.
Yeah. Language, especially when going out on our own. Is it? I don't speak Spanish, not even a smattering, nothing. Is it easy to communicate?
So again, I think it depends on the area that you're moving around in. In the major cities, yes, you will be able to communicate more easily. But if it's obviously in the smaller towns, you might battle. I think what's nice is technology is really making it easy for us these days with those online translators, etc.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks.
No problem.
Elizabeth, just maybe a last question on, because it's not clear if you check the videos and stuff. Obviously, both Machu Picchu and La Paz are about 4,000 meters above sea level. So I would expect it to be cold, and it's just a question of clothing, so we just a typical windbreaker kind of thing with some underlayers should be sufficient, I guess.
Yeah, so I think with the first question that you asked me, I was referring specifically to the Amazon. So yes, obviously the higher you go in terms of altitude, the cooler it gets. I wouldn't want someone to be packing only, heavy woolens, etc. So layers, are always a good idea. And if you wear woolen t-shirts, and there's actually a company in South Africa that does merino wool clothing, and they have beautiful t-shirts that are also moisture wicking. So if you layer with woolen clothing, etc., and which are light to walk in as well, then that's a great idea.
Yeah, and I guess communication should be easy. I trust there's Wi-Fi all around. These days, there's very few places that do not have that anymore. So
yeah, I have to be perfectly honest with you. I am not sure about the Wi-Fi at the lodge in the Amazon, but we can definitely find out if that's something that is going to influence someone's decision. If they have to be connected all the time, then that's something we can find out for them.
Okay. I'm going to start packing then.
Okay. Roep jy 'n hond? Ek hoor net 'n vingerklap.
Maybe just confirmation of the flights. We haven't received information. I guess we're flying via Sao Paulo.
Yeah. So there are some guests who are going to fly with TAG Angolan Airlines because that is their choice. Otherwise, those who do not wish to do that will be flying via Sao Paulo. Yes. Hello. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't sure whether I'd missed you. Naomi, het jy nog 'n vraag?
Ja, net 'n kortjie en gaan oor geld.
Yes.
Ek neem aan dollar is die beste eenheid om te ruil.
Om saam met jou te vat en dan kan jy dit daar omruil by die lughawe of by een van die plaaslike exchanges.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, if there are no more questions, then I am going to sign off. Anyone else? Okay, no problem.
Dankie vir jou moeite.
No problem. As daar nog vrae is, asseblief laat weet ons.
Maak so.
Okay, bye.